Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing on this fine start of the 2022 bull run to infinity? I'll just caveat this stream with the fact that I spent the weekend on a stag do and I am still morbidly hungover. So if I'm a little bit slower than usual, that's because my old age has caught up with me. Apparently, I cannot do 2 days drinking in a row anymore. But yeah, how's everyone doing? What's the feel in the chat? Bull market's back? Dead cat bounce? Dead cat. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing far too many alt season fractals and all this kind of wonderful stuff. Good morning, Dicking. Yeah, like I see so many fractals on Twitter these days that are like the recommended tweets for you type thing, which are just, yeah. Volume needs higher for breakout. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm still a bit hungover from the weekend, so I'm going to be a little bit slower than normal. And I'll be completely transparent. I'm completely offside for this move, apart from some spot backs that I've held for a long time. But you can't win them all. It's all going to shit. Alt season has begun. Just not the way people expect. I assume you're referring to down to zero. Invert the chart and it's alt season for months, which is fair. It has been, right? Like, I think a lot of people have had this sort of misconception that you can only make money on the long side of alts, but plenty of people have done very well shorting them. But you typically need to be able to withstand a period of drawdown to catch them, or be an absolute sniper. I'll talk about a couple of shorts that I'm looking at in a minute. Let me just drink some water to help curb my hangover. If anyone's got a hangover cure, by the way, very open to suggestions. Very open. But yeah, let's kick things off. So firstly, thanks to Dower Exchange for sponsoring the stream. You can trade derivatives and particularly options, altcoin options on there. There's a link below if you're interested. It's one of the few places that you can trade altcoin options, and in these conditions can be quite fun. What was I drinking? Everything. I think we were on the Peronis. I think we had about, I don't know, several pints of Peroni and then lots of shots that we bought for each other to punish each other. And it was, yeah, Sambucas, Jaeger bombs, yeah, just horrible shit, basically. But yeah, let's jump in. So let's start with BTC. I mean, everyone is kind of seeing this a little bit differently, I think. I mean, personally, I still think we're range bound, so I've drawn some boxes, which, you know, to me, we are still sat in this period of consolidation. And whilst this is a wonderfully strong move, it doesn't look like it wants to follow through. And the reason that I'm saying that is when you start getting to lower time frame, you can see we've got some nice divs, and this one was actually pointed out by Jai Krip, a member of our group. So yeah, fair play to him. You know, I'm looking at this as, okay, this is probably going to consolidate, we're probably going to have some sort of wick up and then straight back down and send it back to ADs and just carry on playing it as though it's a range. I am in a small short position from here, but that's the only trade I'm in at the moment, which by inference means that I've missed the long side of these old pumps, which is usually the play I look to take. So yeah, for me it's really simple. I think the interesting point with BTC is that we've got this relatively brutal div on CVD between spot and perps. So this isn't something that I use massively. I will look at it as people like Magus will trade using this TPO and various other bits and pieces, but it was just an interesting note that we're approaching essentially a range high and spot is selling off. So to me that's a bit of a bearish indicator that this lack or fall in momentum on lower time frames is getting quite bleak. So I don't believe this is a consolidation before the next leg up. It's quite unlikely, and yeah, for me that's an easy short. I'm half sized at the moment. From here, if we get another wick up, I'll fade it, and then that'll be me. And if we get to somewhere like 31,200, then I will be out of that trade. So up here, I don't think we clean up these highs. I just don't think this move has got that strength. But hey, I could be wrong. The witch said we're going to form a local top today. Before we go down again, I presume by witch you mean Marin. Marin the Moon Witch, yeah. Hangover cured, don't stop drinking. Yeah, I might need a time machine first, but it's only a 100% hit rate, that one. Is it accurate? To be fair to her, and this is where I'm going to get on my little soapbox a little bit, so let me just put my soapbox down so I can stand on it for 5 seconds. This is where I find people who judge other people's trading methodologies really odd, because she's done some brilliant calls that have actually been right, and whilst you might sit there and think like, you might sit there and think that this is absolute horseshit, still arrived at better trades than probably 90% of crypto Twitter. And just because the methodology is a bit different, yeah, it's still been right, and quite impressively right, literally to the day. Yeah, I'm not advocating moon cycles for trading, by the way. It's just I always find it odd when people judge other people's trading style without knowing their results or anything. Respect the rock, yeah. I mean, genuinely, in Silico's moon cycle indicator was quite interesting. Let's see if we've got it. Moon. Like, I mean, it's a relatively low, a low rate, right? But it's not perfect. The vernal equinox. I mean, this guy, I love in Silico. He's clearly got so much time to code all this stuff. Yeah, it's mad. But yeah, here we go. Like full moon or whatever it is, it's definitely going down. So that's added confirmation to my short thesis right there. Moon cycle. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm in a small short. I'll add more if we get a wick up, and then that'll be a full size position. And hopefully we come back down and just keep bouncing in this range. One of the interesting behaviours around this spaghetti, so if I go on to a bit of a higher time frame, let's go back to yesterday. So when we started really seeing Bitcoin moving on a nice little move yesterday, so we sort of saw a bit of advancement, a bit of move up. Alts went pretty risk on pretty quickly, and what we saw is last time we had this behaviour, it was towards the end of the range, and we got up here, we got this. We got a nice move up, get everyone bullish again, and then smack it down and sell off. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I didn't expect that to happen necessarily. I mean, if we did get that, I'd probably be taking some off down here pretty quickly, and yeah, that would be a nice trade for me personally. But the alt rotations around, you know, being risk on or risk off from the Bitcoin lows, they gradually get bigger and bigger as the range develops, right? So your first alt rotation down here on the way up, you know, there's a few that are like that. This little move up, there's quite a few more that are like that. This move up, it was quite explosive from alts, and then obviously that's it, game over. And if you go back and start looking at these moves, and as Bitcoin was trending up, like the moves that we've seen this morning are actually quite violent, right? They're quite good. If you caught some of them, well played. I didn't. I was in bed trying to cure said hangover. But this to me is kind of more scary than it is bullish. This to me is, okay, if you didn't catch this move, then I'm not going to try and long anything here to just kind of jump on board of a new fresh trend. It just doesn't make sense. And when you look at most of the charts, I don't think it makes sense to be doing that either. You know, I still think we are in a macro downtrend, which we've been in for a while. We have had obviously some relief on the way down, but yeah, this, like when you start zooming out, right? Like, could this be the start of a new trend? Yeah, of course it could. Is this the strength that I need to see to jump on board, start buying spot bags again, and, you know, holding up to 100k? No, that's not good enough for me. I want to see macro higher lows. I want to see, you know, a real show of demand and strength. And like I said, this is a bit worrying. So yeah, if I jump into things like ENS, so ENS was one I really wanted to get on board. I thought let's zoom in a little bit. I thought what would happen down here is that we'd reclaim this level. We had quite a nice bullish structure here going into it. I thought we'd come over, I thought we'd consolidate, and I thought I could take a nice long position if we were indeed bullish. However, that's not been the case. We've had pretty strong sell-offs. We've kind of rejected that, it's a bit choppy. But if you start zooming in, you know, we've got a nice little retest of this under here. It's not perfectly clean, but I would rather be taking the short side and trying to fade this move. I quite like fading Euphoria, and you've got this div of momentum across the highs. Is it perfectly clean? No, and it's not perfectly clean because you've got like 18 bars, but it is still a change in momentum, and I would rather try and fade something that is on the borderline of euphoric than fade something that is utter shit and weak. And that's just me personally. Open short 125x leverage now, only if you use my ref link. That's the rule. What else am I looking to short to zero? All of them apart from my bags, obviously. Tomorrow monthly close. Yeah, and I just think, you know, it's, for me, I'm not looking to be long here. Now, what is really interesting is that Magus was long, has been building a spot position, and has caught this move. So it's always, I think I said on last stream, that it's interesting when you find two traders who, you know, have similar views, and then they differ, and they have completely different logic, and one of them will catch a trade, one of them won't. One of them will take the short side, one of them will take the long side. So I don't know if his plan was to de-risk some up here or to even add more, but yeah, he caught all of this, I didn't. So props to Magus. And that's one of the things, guys, of like sharing your trading thesis, your trading positions with someone else, is that you can learn things from them. So like, I never would have looked at this before, not ever. Wouldn't have bothered me. I'm looking at momentum, I'm looking at levels, I'm looking at high time frame, that's it. But the more time I've spent with different people, the more the more I'm trying to take into account and try and just improve my edge, even if it's by like 0.1%, 0.5% over the long term. That's going to add up so quickly. And this is the kind of thing that I think people should be focusing on in these conditions. Like, even if you caught the absolute bottom of ENS, right, and you'd loaded up a huge position down here, and you're like, right, ENS is gonna fly, absolutely wonderful. I've got an average of this. Oh, wonderful. See, still slightly hungover. You know, I've got 17% move, hooray. Like, well done. It's probably not going to be your route to retirement and having made it, quote unquote, right? But taking it, recording it, understanding why you took the position, journaling it, backtesting your strategies, to me, this is the time. This is the time to really start thinking about taking this seriously. I've actually got a trade plan document that I stole from EXO many years ago, and it's a really helpful thought process to go through. I'll tweet out the headings. I'm obviously not going to tweet out my trade document with everything in it, but it covers everything from kind of planning, setups, backtesting, thinking about things like taxes. You know, are you set up in the most tax efficient way possible? Because I'll tell you what, the fucking difference in the UK is you either pay 20% capital gains tax or you pay 50% income tax, assuming obviously you make a reasonable amount of money from trading. So do you want an extra 30% in your back pocket? Most people would say yes please. And to me, this is where you are probably going to get the most benefit, really sitting back and looking at it all and preparing for success. And that doesn't necessarily mean the bull market comes back tomorrow, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, but I firmly believe that crypto is, you know, just this perpetual greed cycle. Is the easiest accessible casino for quote unquote normal people. You know, it's a 24/7 casino, and a lot of people, I mean certainly when I started, one of the things that I used to do was look at what was the big gainer of the day. Oh, this is Luna. Luna Classic, yeah. Fucking hell. Oh wow, what could I have done to have bought some there? You know, that's the typical like beginner's journey, I think. And there's always going to be that greed, and always going to be people wanting to catch those big trades. What about the S&P 500 looking bullish? Let's have a look. Okay, so from a weekly perspective, is that super bullish? I mean, the way I see it is you've kind of got this, you've got a break, and then an absolute brutal sell-off. You're probably just getting some relief, maybe a little bit of relief, and same again, still a downtrend. It kind of all looks like relief rallies, like yeah, okay, you've got this, and maybe we start doing that. But yeah, personally I don't see it. I'm still relatively bearish. I'm quite happy to be on the wrong side of that. I've spoken before about how I've got some spot bags, which no real plans on selling, so I've got some upside exposure if we do start moving up, and if we do start breaking out of particularly this range on BTC, then I'll consider longing the top again. But yeah, intraday alt plays have just been my bread and butter. Is the stream lagging for anyone else? Well, I hope not. It's alright for me. Can I mail you my trade plan? Yeah, it's 0.5 BTC. Actually, it's 0.6 BTC now. Inflation. Thought on Rune for spot buys. I mean, this is another one where, okay, appreciate that this level isn't particularly clean, but when you zoom out, like, this has been a pretty key pivot point around the kind of 3.2, 3.3 mark, and we're blasting up kind of straight back into it. Now, if you followed me for more than a week, you will know that I am a Rune maxi, so I don't necessarily want to be short Rune, but would I be buying spot at this point? No. Would I be buying spot if we did something like this? Maybe. But I still see this as a pretty key pivot point. So for me, yeah, I'm not buying something that's up 13% on the day anyway, where Bitcoin is at a range high, and I think I'm positioned short BTC. So if I'm positioned short BTC, I mean, I can play the pair trade and long and out if I want to, but if Bitcoin goes down, I mean, I think we spoke about this on the last stream, didn't we? If Bitcoin does this, what are alts going to do? Anyone in the chat? I don't know if I've got a delay on this or anything, but they're going to disappear. Yeah, you're going to just see these rallies just crumble, right? So when Bitcoin does that, alts do that. That's all that's going to happen. So I can't really be buying spot alts when I'm shorting BTC. That just doesn't work. Now, I can be wrong on the Bitcoin trade thesis. I could be wrong, and I'll lose a small amount of money. Not a problem. But trying to play several positions, it's just, for me, it's not the conditions to be doing that. It's not the conditions to be trying to manage multiple positions, because the kind of risk reward of getting it right isn't wonderful. I would rather just take the odd simple trade and not overtrade, because if you overtrade, you're probably going to get chopped up. But some people love these conditions. Some people are born for it, right? Some people absolutely love, like, easy mode, quote unquote, on Bitcoin. Whereas I love big, alt, volatile moves. And today, we got them. I was not positioned for them. So, yeah, that's it. I've missed it. I've missed the bull run of 2022. But no, hopefully you can sort of see my thought process around some of these. So like ENS is like a really clear one. Ape is again similar. You've kind of got this. Come on, Boomer Charlie, you can do it. You can do it. You kind of got this similar kind of level. It's not too many interactions, but bounce from it, bounce from it, bounce from it. Sort of touch it, but it's not as clean as like the Rune one. And now we're heading into that area, and we've seen momentum starting to drop. We've seen RSI starting to fade from the extremes. Again, it's not clean, and I can't take that as a trade, because you've got momentum going up, you've got choppy RSI. There's no clear short signal here, right? But it was a coin that I was looking to short, and until we start reclaiming some levels, I can't really be bullish on it. And that's just me. That's my thought process. Short 8 to 0. I think Ape's one of those things where, like, I've personally got a massive grudge against it, and that's because I basically had to close a trade down I had to close a trade down. Just keep going back. It was down here, 670 at that. Now what's happened there? It was definitely like around the 670 region. I might have to go to FTX and have a little peek. Yeah, okay. TradingView hasn't got the full history. Wonderful. But it was down to the 670 region, and I had to go. I had to real life emergency, so I had to close a trade, and then it went straight up to like $9.50. And then, somewhere at the top, I did a fat finger. Where was it? Not there, not at the top. It was like $17. Yeah, it was here. I did a fat finger, and I'd taken reduce only off, and I ended up basically longing the Pico top, and it just dumped on me hard. So Apes were one of those coins where, like, I started off with an absolute grudge against it, and then I spent this whole run just longing it and trying to make it all back in several trades. It's me and Ape have got a lot of history. And I genuinely don't think it goes to zero, and I was massively wrong about Bored Apes. Massively wrong. So a friend minted me a Bored Ape, and I sent him the mint fee and said, "You keep it, mate, I don't want it." He sold it for 125 ETH. Yeah, I think that's like a Coin Fashions thing right there, isn't it? So yeah, me and Ape have got a good history. It's been a joy, and it's been a point of some interesting memories. But yeah, I'd love to short it here, but I haven't got a decent signal. And I'd genuinely like to be long Ape, but from, it's a coin that, like, if you believe in like the whole metaverse narrative, and if you believe that, NFT adoption, like, by celebrities wasn't fully sponsored and all that kind of wonderful stuff, then you probably want to make in your long-term bear market accumulation portfolio. That's such a boomer thing to do. Saying buy NFTs you end up bearish on. No. I wasn't particularly bearish on it. I didn't like it. Like, I'm an artist and I was buying Beeples and stuff like that. So I could see the value in that art. I couldn't see the value in Bored Apes. That was my mistake. You don't get it right all the time. And to be honest, you don't have to get it right all the time in crypto. And it's what Impersonati was saying. Basically, you want to be late to the party and right, rather than early. You get caught with your pants down. Ish. So you can either be early, and you can be super early, and you can just make gains by being super early and taking that risk, right? So that's kind of what happened with me and Beeple, is that you see this art, you like that art, you kind of understand the premise of digital art, and you go, yeah, okay, I can see where this is going. And things like it's 5,000 days, you can't just replicate that, right? You can't just go, oh, I spent 5,000 days this week. Whereas a 10k PFP project, give me a week and I'll knock one up for you. I didn't really get that value proposition. Yeah, it's crazy how PFP valuations compared to the one-to-one works, right? Or one-on-one, sorry. Like, I bought a fair few one-on-ones, and I paid a lot of money for some of them, and some of them have done really well, and some of them have done really badly. But that's what you kind of get with art, right? So, yeah. TLDR, I'm bullish long-term on Ape. I will quite happily admit that I fucked up, and I basically gave someone 500k, which is fine. We're still friends. He buys me beers every now and again, so it works out. But yeah, I'm looking to short some of these bounces. Ape, no signal. ENS, pretty nice actually on lower time frame. But I'm just gonna hedge it out with a Bitcoin short, which I kind of ran over at the start of this stream. That's some good questions today, guys. I've got to be honest. I was looking at your alt portfolio that you suggested back in 2019. All those alts gave massive gains. How did you get to know these projects? How can we find such projects? So I think, if I'm being honest, you can have a lot of time to research and to look at projects that you want to accumulate and have theories as to why you're accumulating them. Now, this is one of the big debates about whether fundamentals matter, and I think if you look at something like Luna, you will realise that fundamentals matter. Where is that yield coming from? Being the key question in that particular debacle. Now, I'll just caveat that portfolio that I didn't end up being, my total bags. I bought tons of other things along the way, experimented with NFTs. I think as long as you're exploring new areas of the market, you'll probably do quite well in a bull run, and you'll fuck some things up, just like that BAYC story. You'll hand back some profits too early. So I've sold, I think I bought a load of Sol at like $2 and sold it at $3, thinking I was a fucking champion. It went to 200 or whatever it was. I mean, it's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. And for me, it's about now is the time you start doing your research. It's the time you start doing your theories. So, do you think metaverse is going to be a huge narrative? And if so, how do you want to be positioned in that? Are you going for the smaller alts, the low cap alts? Or are you going for things like Sand, Mana, Ape? What are you doing? Do you think DeFi is going to make a return? If so, why? What are going to be the metrics that make you confident that DeFi is coming back? Is it TVL? Is it some form of yield with actual proper revenues? What is it? Social tokens. So we had something called BitClout, if any of you remember that, during the bull run, which has its ups and downs massively. And I never owned any. I was never part of it or anything like that. But I think the idea of like a social, like monetizing social media and social clout is great. I think social tokens where you can bet on people will be huge. And that's not necessarily copy trading, but I think there's definitely something to be explored there. I think privacy has kind of had its roundabouts, but if we start seeing like legislative moves to abolish stablecoins and go by government-backed stablecoins, etc., then it's going to be very different. We might see, I think it was a Kobe tweet where he said, imagine like USDC and USDT, basically become illegal and everything goes back to being on an old BTC pair. Now that will completely, I imagine, abolish my style of trading, and you will end up getting, Bitcoin up, alts down again. Whereas these days, Bitcoin up, some alts will be better and some alts will be slightly worse. But yeah, do your research, spread out, try and pick an area that you really enjoy. So when NFTs started coming out, that made sense to me, right? I completely fucked up some of them. I refused to buy a punk because I thought they looked like hot fucking garbage. And yeah, it was an oversight on my part because they obviously have first mover advantage on the whole 10k PFP thing. But do your research, have your theories, review your theories as things progress, and start thinking about how are you going to make sure that your theories are actually manifesting. And this spaghetti chart, to be honest with you, is one of the best ways of doing it. You can also use something like I've got an indicator which is called an index. So is this one index comparison? It's called Easy Index Builder. Yeah, that's the one. And you can start building like a DeFi index, a privacy index, whatever you whatever you want, really. You can turn this table off and stuff, and you can start plotting it and doing all that kind of stuff. But one of the really interesting things with, like, I remember it like as clear as day, was when YFI and this DeFi summer started, and you basically had Bitcoin doing this, and then it started doing that, and the only thing that bounced was YFI, I think it was Aave, and everything else was basically doing that. So that starts telling you that actually there's a move here. It's moving into DeFi, and in stronger conditions, if you're starting to place your bets there, and if you go, well, no one's really talked about DeFi. DeFi hasn't really had its season. DeFi hasn't really been through that alt cycle of, you know, it launches, it goes down, nothing really happens. You have the kind of first pump, again, nothing really happens. You've got a bit more development, and then suddenly it's part of the narrative, and that's where, you know, your main returns are going to be on altcoins. So that's a really long answer to a question, but I hope it helps. And, you know, do I think that we're in a macro accumulation phase for alts? No, I don't. I think there are projects that I've got my eye on, there are projects that I want bigger bags of, and this is the thing, is that you can sit here now and start planning, you know, if I've got my total portfolio, what percentage of that should be metaverse, what percentage of that should always be cash, what percentage of that do I want it to be Bitcoin and ETH, etc., etc. Like, what does that optimal thing look like? And then the same thing for, like, risk. That's going to be 10% on low caps, which is clearly not 10% by my drawing, but you know what I mean. Let's call it 40% on mid and 50% on large. So it's kind of a medium-ish risk portfolio. But if you said, well, actually, I'm going to do, you know, 40% mid caps or something like that, that's the kind of planning that I do, and I do it weekly. I was joking with someone actually that, like, I've got a spreadsheet that I literally update weekly with my portfolio and just my total risk exposure to both forex moves, because obviously everything's denominated in dollars, and I spend pounds, and crypto. So what percentage am I in cash and what percentage am I in crypto? So yeah, hopefully that helps. And I think one of the great things is at the moment is that you've got time, right? I remember being full bull run, not eating, not sleeping, just trying to chase the next pump, trying to make the most of it, trying to bleed every penny out of this market. And I just, you know, if you're trading ape, like, look at that, basically a month. Like, this has not been too exciting. It's the same with BTC. Like, I'm just not, I mean, at least it's volatile, right? At least there are some moves to be made. At least we haven't got full crab where price looks like this. Right, stuck in a like $100 to $200 range. Sorry, I'll get back to some questions now. What's the name of this website? I was TradingView, mate. Why use it instead of Binance? Well, for a start, it's got more functionality, it's got more coins, and I think Binance, I don't actually trade on Binance, I buy some spot bags on there, but they use TradingView's API anyway. I thought also like visual charting, but you can also add your own indicators, you can save your settings, you can do all that kind of wonderful stuff. I think 99% of charts that you'll see on Twitter are that. And yeah, like that is, yeah, it's just the tool that we use, or that most people use. There are a few new ones coming up actually, but yeah, I prefer TradingView. That's the problem with me right now. Fully liquid for a couple of months, once deployed spot. Yeah, I mean, again, this is kind of where you have to decide like what you are. Like, I spoke about this before, I think, where, you know, are you a macro trader? Are you trying to time basically this and the bottom of this? Because this really is what you are trading now. As much as we do the decorrelation meme, it's kind of not happened. And if it does happen, it'll be very obvious. And if it does happen, then you'll get time to jump on board. Right? It might not be the perfect entry. You might not be able to gloat on Twitter and suck yourself off for longing the Pico bottom of Bitcoin and ETH. So minus cloud points, but if everything does start massively bouncing and recovering, which I don't think it's going to, you buying here versus having bought 100 times down here and getting fucked, or sorry, like there, you know what I mean? Like getting chopped up in this, you buying there really isn't going to make too much difference. Like I say, minus clout. So if you're a 4-year cycle trader, we're probably not at the lows, would be my guess. I do not feel comfortable buying loads of spot bags here on the premise that we do this. If we did that, might feel a bit more comfortable. But yeah, that's just me. I wouldn't be buying stuff to hold it for another huge vertical run up. Now, if you are that person, then go for it. But this is what I mean by planning, patience. There is no rush, right? This casino is open 24/7. So you're going to get chances. You're going to get chances to buy your favourite alt much lower, I would assume. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow. You might miss out on 20-30% runs to the upside before that. But yeah. I kind of want to buy a couple of alts when the chart looks like this. And it's back doing basically fuck all. And again, that will probably even go down like 50%. And then start going up. I'm quite happy to accumulate in what I think will be a macro accumulation period, which isn't now. But I would go and trade with size when we start really shifting out of an accumulation range. Not to go Wyckoff, because I don't use Wyckoff or anything like that, but that's kind of how I do it. And I'm around 25% allocation into spot. That's my little pie chart. And just to be clear, that's around 25% allocation into spot when the conditions are right. So not right now. I'm not sat 25% in alts that are down 90% in 3 months. Do I observe open interest around my trades? No. But this is what I mean. So there are a couple of things that I've wanted to work on. So pairs trading is one of them. Wow, I've added that 3 times. That is such a boom thing to do, isn't it? It's like watching your nan use a computer. It's embarrassing. So pairs trading is something that I've wanted to develop a little bit more. Obviously this is currently looking at DYDX and 1. Let's just make that a bit bigger. And what I want to do is start doing a bit more backtesting using something like Python and actually building out some more quanti trade theses. So for me, it's an area that I want to look at, and that's just on my list of things to do. It's still adding them. Wonderful. That's I think that's one of the things that I want to do in these conditions. And the reason is that I'm quite good at taking or identifying alts that I think will bounce, pre-positioning or joining them quite early on as they bounce, and then that's pretty much how I've been taking most of my money out of the market the last few months. But one thing that I know I could do better and that I could take advantage of is pair trades. So particularly if I know that something is strong and I know that something else is weak, then I can hedge some of my exposure and hopefully generate better, consistent returns. So if I look at something that everyone's been sort of talking about, which is TRX, you know, that's that down here, TRX Sol Doge. It's really discomforting. But yeah, starting to understand the pair correlations, you know, so short Doge, long RSR, maybe? I don't know what the relationship looks like, but getting a statistical edge between their relationships, correlations, alpha, beta, etc., and using that to form a trade thesis is something that I want to work on, because at the moment I pretty much use levels, RSI and AO, and I do look at volume traded purely because I don't want to open a position and be 99% of the open interest. So do I look at it? No, and I should do, but I just don't. I don't care about gloating. Yeah, I don't care about gloating. Are you willing to hold it into the year 2099? I'll probably be dead by then, to be honest, mate. I'd be quite surprised if I lived till that long. But yeah, I might be in my retirement home, you know, dribbling down my face, trying to sell the last of my 8 bag for $1,000. What is pair trading really? Well, pair trading is where you look to, I guess, long one coin, short another, and you're playing that relationship. So in this example, it's a shit example, but you are looking to find a strong coin, long that, weak coin, short that, and then your exposure is the delta between the two, right? Wow, I've really messed that up, haven't I? So it becomes slightly easier if you know that there's a narrative behind XYZ, and that you can get more comfortable longing something like ENS and shorting, say, TRX, and then your gain is that. But if the market starts dumping, then the question is, is TRX going to just do that and kind of cover off your exposure to your long ENS position? And like I said, this is something that I'm learning, so I'm not going to sit here and try and teach it, because it's something that I want to develop, and it's something that I've wanted to develop for a long time. But I built a few indicators around it, and a table of pairs trading screener thing for TradingView, but so far unsuccessfully implemented. You might miss the bottom, but we'll have rent and good money, just in case. Yeah, that's it. And this is what I mean, it's like, what kind of trader are you? Do you want to catch the bottom? So some people love trying to catch the bottom on a spot swing basis. I'll quite happily scalp something like this. I'll quite happily try and join there on a strong altcoin like potentially ENS. So if like ENS does that now, starts to bounce, I could be tempted to long that. But from a spot perspective, I would not be deploying 100% of my capital down here, because it's probably just going to do that. I would rather see some consolidation. I would rather see some sort of divs. I would rather see AO sort of looking bullish. I'd rather see a breakout of a range. Just anything over trying to time the bottom. But you might not be that person. So think about what you want to see. What's up, the baldion? The bald lion. Oh my god, my eyes. Open interest needs you. No. down to which time frame do I use RSI. Basically any, but there are some time frames that it's more effective on. So like 1 minute divs, yeah, they're not super effective, I'll be honest with you. 5, 10, or 5, 15, 30 are okay. I use probably 5 and 15 the most. And yeah, when you start getting onto higher time frames, that's obviously I don't use the hourly as much as I used to. 2 hours, 3 hours, no. 4 hour, yeah. 4 hour is good, very clean. 12 hour, no. Daily, yes. That's pretty much it for me. If I look back at most of my trades, they've been on those time frames. Now I'll glance at 3-day and weekly to see if there are any kind of indications or signals. But it's rare that there are extremes. And that's obviously more for macro positioning, because I'm not gonna take a trade off a weekly chart in crypto. I might use it to define some levels, but I'm not gonna take a trade unless it's a big swing trade. And I like that we've still got the generational bottom on there. March 2023. So sorry boys. Only 10 months to go. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview. Might not get my chance to add. Yeah, some of these bounces have been really nice. Oh Lord, Justin set the sun. Yeah, I mean it's still relatively strong, TRX. It's just well, it's not relatively strong. That's the complete wrong word. I mean it's still reasonably strong. It's probably the right way of putting it. You could make an argument for mean parabola. See if we actually start pushing up, but yeah, this tells you that pretty much everything is stronger. It's literally at the bottom in terms of alts to play, which is a shame because that's the one that I longed the other day off the bottom. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it for me at the moment. There's not really too much to go over. I think in market conditions like these, I genuinely think a lot of people are better off stepping back, focusing, and saying what is it that I want to do, and what areas do I want to be exposed to, how much time can I genuinely commit to this, like am I putting in $100 a month and just trying to DCA into some bags, let's say privacy, I think privacy is going to be huge, $100 a month might not sound a lot, but over a period of time it might add in something, mark up some levels on something like maybe ZEC, and say I'll be buying this at, if this ever dips to $60, I'm gonna be moving in. It's not actually too bad though, is it? From a 3-day perspective. But yeah, I think it's sort of knowing you, knowing your risk exposure, knowing how much time you can commit, knowing what levels of capital you're happy to commit, and knowing how long you're happy to hold things for. So with my FA bags, I've held them for a long time, and I trade some of them, but more often than not, I've bought in, I've set some levels where I'll take profit, and that's it. I did I think it was like a 15-20 page document on Tomo and why I thought Tomo was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Isn't Monero the only real good one? Yeah, probably. I just did, it was the only one I could just see sat there. Secret? I don't really have any specific views on Secret, to be honest. Haven't dived into it. I had a bag a while ago, but that was on the recommendation of a friend, and it was in slightly different conditions. So yeah, has anyone got any questions or anything like that? Anything you want me to go over? I'll probably chill for another 10-15 minutes and then go get some lunch and try and sober up. Yeah, I mean, this is what a lot of alts look like, right? Binance US, lovely. That whole roller coaster meme. Almost home. Could look at generational buy levels for Atom. The thing about Atom is that Atom seems to do whatever the hell it wants, and like I did the meme of this generational bottom. I literally just typed a number in. That was based on 2/3 of fuck all. I think I may have had some logic around we won't get down to the COVID lows, but I think we do just crash through this previous all-time high. But like marking out blind levels and just saying I'm going to buy here without having a plan of like what response do you want to see at that level is just madness. Are you, again, it's not particularly clean, but we'll just do it off the 3-day chart and say, down here, do you think that holds? Or do you think if price gets there, how's it going to get there? If it goes like that to -1, that would be great. Why doesn't that redo that? But I guess what's the difference between like this slow death and below and then that? Right? Is that more promising than that? Or what do you want to see to be able to buy at that level? Like I don't understand how people can kind of put blind bids in personally. Because you need a point of invalidation to me on a trade. If you want to just buy, then maybe you are better off DCAing. But yeah, like I said, I like to look for like accumulation before I would even consider punting some spot bags or that first breakout of a range and try and catch the start of a new trend. So it's difficult because I think marking levels on charts is just levels where you're going to blind bid is very odd. Good morning, Ruck. How are you, sir? Do you see any exchange going under, and how are you finding the Pluto's card? So first off, I've talked about it on another stream about exchange risk. So as a victim of Cryptopia, who have I think 9 of my Bitcoins, so technically I am a Bitcoin holder, although it's technically not mine anymore. So yeah, do what you want with that. The counterparty risk is there. So I only ever have an amount on FTX, Delta, or Binance, or wherever, and that's it. And that's an amount that I'm not happy to lose, obviously. But you have to understand that there is a counterparty risk wherever you've got your capital. Not your keys, not your funds, all that kind of crap. So yeah, do I see one going under? No, but not the big boys, definitely not. But shit happens, right? I'm quite surprised that nothing yet major has kind of come out of the whole Luna debacle. What library do you use for backtesting in Python, or haven't you decided yet? I haven't decided. I've barely started Python. I'm like dusting off the old the old books and trying to get back into it, mate. Like, but this is like going to be my project probably for the next 3-4 months. You know, I'm not talking about an overnight job, right? What's your general thoughts on people you deem credible on generational bottom? There's so much noise. I know everyone has their own ideas and thought process. Yeah, so I think this is where I get back to, like, the only reason you try and go for a generational bottom is for clout, right? That's it. Like, if you are just blind bidding here, and you get that wick, and you get that, and you've done it, well done. You literally caught it with a blind limit order, and somehow we've reversed off it. And you are not sat there trading at all. Like, fair fucking play. But to me, that is gambling. Right? And I know people keep coming up with their macro targets based on X, Y, Z, and it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Right? Like, I will trust someone who can tell me what's going to happen in the next hour, and if they can do that 10 times in a row, accurately, tell me your fucking macro bottom, because I will put my blind limits there. But no one can. Which is why I try and preach. It's about the reaction, it's about what's happening at this level that you've marked out, this line on a chart that you've sort of semi-arbitrarily drawn. That's where it gets interesting for me. So I don't have, as much as we memed about this being a generational bottom for whatever reason, I don't have, and I think everyone's credible in their own way, right? So I think if you're saying it's going to be this because last time Bitcoin had, you know, an 80% drawdown from the top, and you say, okay, well, therefore my generational bottom is 13,222. I think if that's your logic, because you've gone back over the last few bull runs and you've said, fine, good for you. But for me, it's always about, okay, what are you looking for when price gets to that level to make you flip bias, to make you flip from bearish to bullish? Sorry, that's a really long ranty answer, isn't it? So yeah, I literally just think that people are doing those kind of tweets for a bit of clout, but also, you know, if they say this is where I'm looking to step back in, this is what I'm looking for, you know, aggressive spot bids, I'm looking for some form of dips, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, then fair play. Like Pentoshi is a really, really good example of someone who does a lot of macro analysis, but says this is what I'm looking for, this is why I'm positioned that way, gives you his whole thought process, and it's great, you know, utter respect. Utter respect. He's wrong. Of course he's wrong. You know, we all are. I think Crypto UB said it, you know, I finally became good at trading when I accepted I'm a professional loser. And it's a great point of view, is that actually a lot of people don't want to be wrong, and they definitely don't want to be wrong publicly to audiences of, I don't know how many people follow Pentoshi, I think it's like 500,000 or something, like, yeah, that's quite ballsy to say this is what I think is going to happen. I've positioned off it, oh look, I've just lost $1 million, well, I'm wrong. So yeah, that's, again, a bit of a ranty answer. But yeah, 20k, 14k, 12k, 6k, who knows? Who knows? I would just say, like, this is where you go back to your system, where you go back to looking at whether you are trading ranges, how are you identifying that you are in a trending environment, is it something as simple as market structure, you know, is it something like an EMA cross, like this, you know, still in a downtrend according to this, how long does it last, you know, we tried to break out here of quite a big range, we failed, it's 3 month odd range, yeah, like, are we going to do the same down here, are we going to try for a bullish EMA cross? I don't know, I'm not an EMA trader, I just use it as a sort of pretty confluence. But this is the time where you can really go through your process and what you need to see to become bullish on things. Now, if you want to find a low cap that's, you know, I don't know, 100k market cap project, you think it's a good team, they're fully doxed, they've got a good innovative product, then, you know, your downside risk is obviously still zero, you can get rugged. But yeah, if it looks good, then, and you want to accumulate some, then maybe, you know, there will still be projects that do well and perform well, and we will probably be talking about projects that are, you know, 1 million market cap now, and they'll be 100 million in 6 months' time. Still, I remember like Theta, Matic were two big, and RVN actually, the chart I bought up earlier, were some bear market winners. This did pretty well, relatively speaking, compared to the rest of the bear market, but obviously that was a pre-Binance listing chart. Surprised, not surprised that Luna's already relaunched. Yeah. Oh, and actually, Stoner, you asked me about the Plutus card. Plutus card's great. So, my story about Plutus is I have I have several bank accounts, and I went to buy a new computer, and I spent, you know, a couple of grand on a new PC, and they basically stopped my payment, locked me out of my account, blah blah blah. Now, you know, I have more than that in my account, so I think they were just a bit surprised that I was spending money, to be honest, because I'm a tight ass. And yeah, after about like half an hour, 45 minutes on the phone to various departments saying that yes, I genuinely want to spend my money, please, I started looking at crypto cards, and I went to CRO because that's the one that everyone talks about, and went, well, this is a bit crap, and a friend suggested Plutus, and yeah, it's been good. I bought some coffee with it. I actually bought some Nescafe Gold with it the other morning. Yeah, it's good. And you get your perks and rewards. So bear market in it. Save on Netflix, Prime, and Disney. I think they're the 3 perks that I chose. So yeah, it's good. And yeah, hopefully that makes sense, guys. Like in terms of macro approach and stuff. Like, I honestly want, like, I don't want it to happen, but I kind of want. I'll tell you what. I'll go at this a different way. I would love to see us come back into this area. I would love for people to think that, you know, it is all dead. I genuinely think, from a macro perspective, like, this is the start of a fairly brutal downtrend in the NAS and S&P. But I would rather prepare for the worst, because if we do start trending back upwards, it'll be quite easy to take advantage of that in crypto. Will I miss out on generational bottom entries and probably some significant spot alt gains? Yeah, I will. But I should be able to identify at least some opportunities through the charts. Sort of as I sort of talked about earlier, really. You know, reclaiming some levels, start getting on board, major shifts, etc. Yeah, I won't miss out on too much. And my ability to trade intraday keeps me able to make money as long as there's volatility. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with my view at the moment. Bearish at the bottom, probably, at the generational bottom. But you also have to understand the time frame that people are looking at it all, right? So, you know, I'm looking at this from a sort of yearly time frame. I'm not looking at it, or maybe monthly, because let's be honest, crypto is, it'll either be dead in a year or 100x probably, but not really too much in between in the old crypto world. But yeah, just show me strength and I'll get on board, and if not, then I won't. It's really simple. Have you ever looked at kinesis? No. What's that? Is this some kind of move to earn? I'm hoping it is. The bounce in the market seems counterintuitive when the Fed is pulling out money soon. Yeah. And I think this is the thing of, like, if you take into account the macro context, which is obviously, I'll always disclaim it with, it's not something I'm an expert in, it's something that I'm trying to understand a lot more, as I'm sure most of you are, and it seems 99% of Twitter are as well, you know. everyone seems to know the FOMC minute meeting dates and all that kind of stuff, which I don't think anyone really cared about before. So yeah, it doesn't feel right to me. Like, I've got that whole view of if the cost of money is going up, i.e. interest rates, then things like businesses who employ people are going to find it harder to get funding, or harder to get funding in ways that are, profitable to their expansion plans, and their investment cases start becoming a lot harder to justify. And then you just get this cycle of, well, money is more expensive. We've lived in a world of cheap money for a while, which is why people have such, in my eyes, grand expectations of lifestyle. I should be going on 4 holidays a year, not 1. What? Like, really? Like, but you don't earn much. Like, I don't really understand how we're in this scenario of people being basically awash with money. It's like every other car, maybe 1 in 5 cars in the UK, or like where I live, maybe not 1 in 5, maybe it's like 1 in 10, is like a bloody Range Rover. It's like, what? How can people afford that? Like, it is genuinely my belief that there is too much money in the hands of normal people at this point in time. So I think the Fed will look to be honest, brutalise the markets, and I don't think they give a fuck. So I will remain bearish, and the charts will kind of tell me how I should be trading. So the cynic in me is a bear, but I will quite happily long some alts if people want to be gambling. So yeah, take my bearish thesis with a pinch of salt, because that'll take months, and in between, as we've seen today, we've got 10-20% rallies across the board. So or on some odds anyway, and everything else is up. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm not positioning on a spot basis as well. One of the kind of confluence factors is I just don't see it. I don't see the massive bull case at the moment. And I think this has got a lot more downside potential to return to these kind of levels in the context of a macro pullback. But every cloud, you'll get some opportunities to accumulate and go back for another cycle, because I do think this is, it's cyclical, hence the word cycle. Up, down, up, down, up, down. I don't think it'll necessarily be as easy as 2021, but that's where you put the work in now. And what most people will do is they'll get bored at the bottom and capitulate at the bottom. And that, and by capitulate I mean capitulate on the market, and in terms of your research, your ambition, your drive, and yeah, that is the kind of definition of not going to make it. Oh, got a couple of bits in the chat. Sound like a logical person? Oh, thanks. That's probably the nicest thing anyone said about me this week. Do I have a comprehensive information about the Avalanche ecosystem tokens? No, sir, I do not. I do not. Yeah, same in Germany. Too much money in the hands of clowns. I just think that the ease of access to money and how cheap it's been, we're about to see the effects of that unwind, and I think it's genuinely going to be brutal. I keep banging on about it. I've got friends who are mortgaged up to their eyeballs, and they're on the lowest cost base that it's kind of ever been. So how's that going to work out? If I said to you, okay, well, I'm going to put you on a 1% interest rate for this credit card, but in 12 months' time it's going to be 5%, and you go out and spend 10 grand a month on it, you're going to have a big fucking shock. Big fucking shock. Kinesis. I'll tell you what, just for you, I'll have a look. I'll add it at my notes. Or Range Rover drivers trade 100x. Yeah, they probably do, to be fair. The real chats. Saw a guy purchase a burger and fries that had gold dust on it. I mean, it's mad. Western society has been brainwashed into thinking they should have it all and it would provide them happiness. Hard work isn't rewarded. Exuberant display of wealth is a mark of success, which I think is a big issue here, and goes hand in hand with too much money in the system. Yeah, it does. And I think that one thing that I've noticed, right, so, I've been here since 2017, and I'm still here, right? I'm still here. And people will say, how do I put this? Like, I've seen people come and go from this market in different ways. I've seen people who have lost it all, come back, lost it all again, and got absolutely mentally broken. I've seen the opposite end of the scale, where people have, tried and tried again, and eventually have made it, and they are sat on 9 figures, probably. And they don't need a penny out of this market anymore, and they have comfortably walked off into the sunset and said, fuck this, I'm out. And then I've seen kind of the people in between who've made a good amount of money, but love this market, and love trading, and love what it offers. And you kind of go, like, on the scale of 1 to 10 of happiness between all those people, like, it varies massively. Even the guy, one of the guys I know who's made, genuinely 9 figures out of the market, he's not happy. He's not happy at all. And it's this perception of wealth and having it all and goods and being able to do whatever you want, doesn't necessarily bring happiness. And if you find what makes you happy, whether that is trading, whether that is, spending time with your kids, or going out and getting absolutely pissed, or doing whatever, like, that means more than all of this crap. But anyway, that's a bit of a different rant. But yeah, I do genuinely think that we are being brainwashed in Western culture to think that success is money, and it's not. In my head, money is freedom, and money is the way of being able to choose how you spend your time. So I still choose to spend my time doing this because I love it. It's the ultimate PvP game. It's a computer game that's never ending, and yes, you do get, financially rewarded, and you can use that money to do whatever you want. You can help others with it even. I mean, fucking hell, what a revelation. Yeah, family. You can help family out. Like, I've helped my family out. And you can kind of use it to improve their lives. So, yeah. I don't know. I guess I would just encourage people not to focus on the money. Focus on the process. If you love it, you will stay. Find projects. Test new things. Like, we don't know what we'll be talking about in 3 years' time. There will be something out there that, who knew the metaverse was going to be a big 2020, 2021 play, right? You didn't have many people talking about the metaverse, 3 years ago. In 2018, I don't think anyone was talking about metaverse projects. And if they were, well, fair play, they were ahead of the curve. So start thinking about what could be the next big trend in crypto. And yeah, I don't know. To me, they're the next opportunities of, like, generational wealth. It's unlikely to be anything that's on this list now, to be honest with you. If you're trading with $1,000, you're unlikely to make $1 million with something that's trading at $1 billion market cap right now. Very unlikely, unless you are an extremely good trader. Anyway, that was a big rant. Valorant fucks you up enough. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't mean to be all, ranty. Yeah, wait for new Ponzi's. But I genuinely, like, we had ohm season, we had stablecoin, but we're kind of still in that stablecoin yield season, where we've had NFTs absolutely explode. We had generative NFTs, we then had 10k PFPs, we had 1 of 1 art. There are going to be different usage or different use cases of different either NFTs or combination of crypto and NFTs maybe. I always thought that the DeFi NFT combination was going to go really well, but I invested quite heavily in a couple of projects that focused on that, because one of the big issues in NFTs is obviously liquidity or lack of. When you sell your NFT, you're not selling it into a resting bid, you're advertising and saying that I would sell my NFT for this price if I was offered it. So yeah, it's a very different game. I had one friend who sold decentralized punks in 2018. One out of all the people I know in crypto. Not gonna lie, I still bash my head on the wall, not getting it, but it is what it is, and move on. Yeah, I mean, I've missed out on, I don't know, it's probably over 100 million, I reckon. No, is it? Well, Shipper's 100 million. So yeah, I reckon I'm probably up to maybe 300 mil easily. But that's part of playing the game, right? And I think when you've had one of those that's, astronomically large, when you're sat there and you're, an amount a lot smaller than that down on the day, you kind of get a nice bit of a reality check. You like the rants? Yeah. There's a lot of information, but there is a lot of information top. I'd say, like, anyone who says that this is easy, I mean, some people do find it a lot easier potentially because they're like purely psychopaths, but I think trying to master a market that's constantly changing, trying to manage your own thoughts and feelings towards that market, so when you miss out on the big trades, like Rock was just saying in the chat, like when various examples that I've talked about today, completely transparently, like I'm not going to sit and laugh and say, oh, the greatest trader of all time, I've never missed a trade in my life. As you've heard, I've missed a few big ones. And I just think that I think that it is quite difficult to master yourself and to really action in accordance with plan. And one of the biggest things that I get asked is, if you were in this situation where you'd longed 8 here, what would you do? And I'd go, well, I wouldn't have longed 8 there. Why? Because this is how I trade, this is my plan. What was your trade and what was your plan going into it? Where did you say you were wrong? Well, I didn't. I just saw some green candles and 8. Yeah, okay. So this is why I always go back to that planning and patience and a longer term view. I think longer term. So don't think I've got to make it in the next week. The market's still going to be here in a week's time, and the innovation is still going to be happening in a month's time, and it's still going to be happening in a year's time. You kind of get where I'm going with this, right? I'm macro bullish on crypto. I'm short term, as in probably medium term is probably a better expression. Medium term bearish because of macro factors. NFT analogy, my old stamp collection, still losing value, all collectors died. Oh god, I shouldn't laugh at that. Fucking hell. That's not great. Yeah, but that's it, like a liquidated. That's the term that I kept using when I was describing NFT investments is, your downside risk is 100% of whatever you put in. And you won't know it because there might be a trade, might be wash trading. And yeah, you'll be sat there, so you better fucking like the art that you're buying. Or you better have some strong conviction. I'm here to hold Bitcoin until the global financial system collapses. I think that's one of the saddest things for me, is that let's say we're right, and let's say that actually Bitcoin does get adopted as some form of hedge against inflation, against the US dollar, like the US dollar goes to shit or something, and Bitcoin's the only thing that holds its value. Obviously you would then infer that alts would probably do the same, just on a beta proposal. But let's say we get the Bitcoin super cycle. Everyone else in the world is going to be fucked. If you weren't in crypto, normal people's pensions potentially getting devalued by 30% in a day. I knew of a friend who, because of the COVID crash, he was meant to be retiring pretty much a week after the COVID crash happened, but he had to go back and ask for his job, basically, and say, well, I can't afford to now because my pension isn't worth quite what I thought it was, because the whole market just shat 30% in a day. So, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'd like to be on the right side of that trade, but some of the real impacts on people is quite sad, really. So yeah, betting on a global financial system collapse. I hear you, and I genuinely think that some of the value that crypto offers of being a decentralized a source of a store of value, quote unquote. I still believe the meme. I like it, but equally, I think it would be semi-naive to think the governments wouldn't step in and fully regulate the shit out of it all. Now, that doesn't mean they can stop you trading on, private and decentralized exchanges and all that kind of wonderful stuff, but they could make it quite difficult for, what's the word I'm looking for? For inhabitants of said countries to either own or trade or use crypto. Oh, I got my first ban. Happy days, let's go. Buy followers, fuck off. Sorry boys, I'm just getting used to banning people. There we go. Get the ban hammer out and start destroying people. Bought the top of April 65k all in one swoop, spot alts. I'm down 35%. I got humbled and went through every emotion. Now I feel numb, almost as if I learned a lot. Not much about crypto financial stuff. I research every day and honestly I love it all. I've been trading ETH and Bitcoin since Christmas. Yeah, ETH's great to scalp. Yeah, it is. We're dumping at the moment for not enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting particularly excited about this just yet. Yeah, I miss loading up anything up here, but it's fine. I'm still half size short. Somewhere about here, 36.50 I think it was. Bitcoin 5 minute. Let's go 5 minute. Yeah, let's do it. This is exactly what I was saying. This is push up, fade that, on the way back down. I never try and catch it while it's pushing. Interesting. Yeah, so just going on your point in personality, like, I think you do have to go through a cycle. I don't know many people who have made it in one cycle, and like, the only stories I've heard of people making it in one cycle have sadly typically been the people who have got 20k and they saw a dog coin and they yeeted 20k into a dog coin and they just left it and they just didn't give a shit. They don't care. Oh look, it's now 5 million. Happy days, that'll do. Bang, done. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Whereas I think a lot of people have gone through a cycle, went, fuck, I've got this regret, I've got that regret, I need to build more conviction here, I need to do this, I need to do that, like, how high can this stuff really go? Well, maybe if I start taking profits on the way up, or even adding to a position on the way up, like, what do I want to do? How high do I think this shit can really go? What's going to be my method for taking money out, for cashing out, When am I going to turn it to fiat? How am I actually going to, like, let's say you've got £10,000 or $10,000 and you want to make $1 million, right? Have you actually got a plan to do that? Like, genuinely? Like, the amount of people I've asked who they've said, yeah, I want to make at least 10 million out of crypto. Okay, right. So how are you going to do that? Well, I've got $10,000. Okay, great start. Now what are you going to do? Well, I'm just going to, yeah, like, genuinely, no clue. I'm just going to kind of hope that the plays come to me and hope that I can turn it into that amount of money. You mine ETH and you're convinced it's not here to stay. Ooh. Interesting. I don't have many people, I don't know many people who share that view, to be honest. Videos. But it's an interesting one for sure. Got Phil, dump it. What do I do in my spare time? What games do I play in? So I play a bit of CSGO. And I used to be very good at CS 1.6 to suck myself off a little bit. And now I'm terrible. So it's like anything, like muscle memory, right? And the same with trading. So whenever I take a break, like, this is why I only took a like half-size position here, and why I'm not playing alts is because I'm still a bit hungover. And to play alts the way I do it, you need to be a little bit more quick on your feet. And that is not me today. So I'm quite happy to miss out on a relatively good day, purely because of my physical and mental condition. But yeah. When you get older, ladies and gentlemen, your reactions and processing times get a little bit longer. I'm not particularly old, by the way. I'm not sat, hoping my teeth don't fall out, but I do have a daughter, and I've been married for 10 years, so that should give you an inclination that I'm not the youngest. I think if you have a good amount of capital at the start of the cycle, you can make it in one, even if a beginner. I'm 100%, but I think you either are the dog coin guy, or you're someone who's very meticulous and has really planned out what you're going to do, and you've found and researched a couple of projects, or one, maybe two projects, and you've played them in the right order. So, if you've got in, say, Rune, and Rune goes 100x, and you go, right, I've now got $1 million from my 10k. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 100k of that and I'm going to put it in the next play, and the next play does a 50x. You've done absolutely fantastic work, and that's kind of all it takes. And it's the timing, it's the luck, it's the research, whatever you want to call it. Like, right time, right place. You can absolutely do it. And I know people who have made that kind of money off 2 trades. So it does happen. But they're the ones that you hear about. You tend not to hear about the 85% of people who completely fuck it all up trying to chase green candles on a 1-minute chart. So just bear that in mind. Grateful down 35%. It could be a lot worse, mate. Yeah, I mean, everything's down, 70% from the top, pretty much? Like most alts. So you're a wash trader. Get good, kid. No, I'm just a hungover one right now. Yeah, I play CSGO with Jim. I would do a CSGO stream, to be honest. I tested it yesterday. It was part of the reason why I bought a new computer. Because obviously bear market things turn into a pro CS streamer, right? Ever touched Valorant? Yeah, actually, I've got another secret channel somewhere, and I played Valorant like 2 or 3 years ago, and I play it every now and again with some old friends, and I just don't like the heavy utility use. It's very utility focused, and obviously if you're playing it every day, all day, day in, day out, then that's great for you. But if you're just someone who casually wants to drop on and aim at someone's head and shoot them in the face quicker than they're shooting me, then it kind of takes away from the whole FPS side of things, I think. So yeah, it's a good game. I can see why people play it, but it's not particularly exciting for me. Are we shorting here? No, I'm not. You can do what you like, obviously. You could do the whole, draw a line meme. I potentially short that retest, but my plan was to, which I didn't execute because I was on stream, short another push up. So I'm short from 3650, so here-ish. No, that is a thick line. Yeah, in that region. So this is my OCD right now. Stream it next time, would love to tune in. Yeah, I mean, you say that, you watch someone aim at someone for 10 minutes to try and kill them. Yeah, no, I might do. I might stream it. But yeah, we've been going for a good hour and a half here, boys. It's I didn't think I'd have much to say, but as usual, I get on my soapbox and rant about something. So happy days. So thank you all for your contributions. Yeah, I'm probably going to head off now. I will work out how to stream CS, and I might even do that on a separate Twitch account or something, so I don't bore crypto people with the odd FPS game, because I doubt half of you want to see CS. But yeah, I mean, if you're not following, hit that follow button. Ugh, cringe. And yeah, have a good day, everyone. Good luck trading these markets. And my DMs are always open, by the way. So if you want to chat about any shit, just hit me up. And yeah, I'm off to recover. I'll probably monitor this short position. See if we actually break down, or if we're going to stall here. That's a nice little tag, isn't it? But hopefully we just come back down to the bottom of this range and we just keep ping-ponging. Ping-pong till you're wrong, that's what Asset taught me. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. So, until next time. Have a good one. See ya.